What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb. It's good to see you tonight, and welcome to the Rehab Christian Center virtual live study. And I'm excited to be here tonight. I am praying that you have had a phenomenal, 2 days of the week. It's Tuesday, but it feels like it's Friday already. It's been that kind of busy week for me. But I'm certainly praying that you've had a phenomenal, a busy, yet productive and phenomenal week this week. Listen, do me a favor. You guys have asked for this. You said, Pastor, I want the 7 types of datas in the series. I want you to take your time and go through each one. I am giving you what you have asked for. I had prayed over this series because it needed a lot of prayer. And so it's starting tonight, and I'm excited. So we're going to deal with type number 1 tonight. And so I'm going to give you 4 minutes. I need everybody on the line to go ahead and tag 5 people. Now, don't sit up here and play me tonight and act like you don't have people you can't tag. You got girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever kind of friends that you can, husbands, wives, whoever, because this is for married people as well. But you've got people you can tag right now that could benefit from this series on dating. And so I need you to tag 5 to 10 people right now. Tell them girlfriend, boyfriend, big bro, little sis, whatever. You need to jump into this message because tonight is going to be great. And there are times where I teach series that I know in advance what kind of situation we're going to have. And I'm telling you, tonight's about to be a whole situation. Just dealing with type number 1. We're just getting started, but I'm excited. This series is going to run through June and July. Every Tuesday in June and July, this series is going to run. And it's going to be powerful. So I need you to invite somebody now. Come on. I need to see you. I'm looking at the comments. Instagram, good evening. Tag 5 people. Let's get going. Facebook, I'm looking at the comments. Tag 5 people. Let's see what's going on. I need you to get them on the line right now. Periscope, go ahead and tag 5 people and tell them to jump on the line because this series is going to be life-changing. Now, we're going to talk about dater type number 1. And you know me, this is all coming from a biblical perspective. I'm going to give you some basic principles. The format is going to be really simple. Every week, I'm going to give you some basic principles on dating. And then I'm going to follow those principles up with the type and just some characteristics of the type. And it's going to be a powerful time. And I promise you, you are going to enjoy it. Come on, tag people. Let's go. Instagram, y'all moving slow. I need you to tag 5 people quickly. I got 3 minutes. I really need to dive into this. I don't want to run this over. I say this every week and it ends up running over, but I'm going to make a conscious effort not to run us late tonight. But I want to get all of these things out because I promise you it's going to bless you in a tremendous way. So come on, tag 5 people. You got 5 people right now that you know have been dating, desire to date, having trouble dating. Maybe they think they're in a good situation. Let's talk about it. I want to deal with the scavenger tonight. And I'm here to tell you it's going to be powerful. They're already saying on Instagram to run over. I'm going to try to keep it in the pocket tonight as much as possible. But tonight's going to be phenomenal. Dealing with dater number 1 or dater type number 1 or type number 1, which is the scavenger. It's going to be powerful. Come on, tag 5 people. Are y'all tagging? Come on, Instagram, tag. Facebook, the number's climbing. I need you to tag 5 people right now and tell them to get on the line because we're about to jump into one of the most amazing series. If you caught the lesson that we did a few weeks ago on the 7 types of daters where I just skimmed over each one, you're really going to enjoy tonight where I really start to deal with each type in full detail, type by type. I'm going to do type 1 tonight. We'll do type 2 next week and continue on through type 7. And many of you don't even understand this, but many of you are going to find out when this series comes to paper that there are actually 2 other types that I'm going to add to this list that I'm not going to share on the series. You're going to have to read up on it, but they are powerful types. And so many things is going to happen with this series, but I need you to tune in. Come on. You got 2 minutes and 30 seconds. No, 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes. I'm sorry. You got 2 minutes to tune in. I need you to tag 5 to 10 people. Come on. Start your watch party. If you haven't started your watch party already, start your watch party. Tag 5 to 10 people. Tell them to jump on the line. They about to hear something about dating tonight that's going to challenge them in many ways. And not only is it going to challenge them in many ways, but it's going to cause them to think about dating and different types of daters in a tremendously, totally different way. And so I need you to jump on the line quickly. You've got 90 seconds, tag 5 to 10 people. I'm looking at you, Facebook. Instagram, we got to wake up the people. I don't know what's going on Instagram, but I need you guys to wake up the people quickly because I'm telling you tonight is going to just be like that. And we're just on part 1, and we got 7 parts to this. But this is going to be dynamic, and I promise you, you are going to enjoy it in a special way. 60 seconds. Come on, tag 3, 5, 7, 10 people. 60 seconds. Tag them quickly. Tell them to jump on the line. We're getting ready to start a very powerful series on dating. You all asked for this. You wanted me to go into more detail. I'm going to go into more detail. And I promise you tonight that this is going to bless you in a tremendous, 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 tremendous way. The scavenger dater is a savage, to say the least. But we're going to deal with it tonight. And I can't wait to just deal with this in plain English. That you can understand, and I promise you it's gonna bless you. Come on, get more people on the line. We got 30 more seconds. I'm moving. I'm wasting my time. I've got to get into the lesson tonight. I got to get into this quickly. So I need you to tag some people. Come on, Facebook. I see you. You're thinking, but I need you to tag 5 to 10 people quickly. Start your watch party. Do it now, because I promise you, you're gonna wish you were tuned in at the beginning. If you were not right now. So tag the people. Come on. Tag the people. I'm ready to get going. 15 seconds. I'm ready to get going. Tag them now because I am excited about what is getting ready to take place during this life study tonight as we deal with the 7 types of data. So let's deal with it. I'm in. Let's deal with it. Feel free to tag people. Continue to tag people as you choose. Feel free to continue to do that. But I'm in tonight. I want to get into the lesson. And let me just say right off the bat, I understand that there is a national blackout. There's a national blackout that's going on tonight. And so I'm very mindful of that, that many people may not even see this broadcast until tomorrow. That's okay. We are recording it. And I certainly respect those of us that have paused for that very important calls today. And so thank you to all of you that have done that, and certainly continue to support the cause. And we are certainly continuing to be prayerful of what's taking place. And so I'm very mindful that our numbers may be lower tonight just because of that. But feel free to share this later so that they can see it and catch the replay later. So we're starting the series 7 types of daters. And tonight we're going to deal with the scavenger. All right. We're going to deal with the scavenger. But before we get into it, I'm going to give you 3 foundational principles for dating. All right. I'm going to give you 3 foundational principles for dating. All right. 3 foundational principles for dating I'm going to give to you tonight. And I promise you, this is going to bless you in a tremendous way. But I want to give you these foundational principles before we just get into layman's everyday English, just language conversation about what this dater is and what their characteristics are. And I promise you it's going to bless you. All right. So here are 3 foundational principles for dating. Before we jump into any of this, I'm going to give you foundational principles every week. And so this week's 3 foundational principles for dating are simple. Principle number 1. All right. Principle number 1 is simple. Falling in love is not the reality of the believer. All right. Principle 1. Falling in love is not the reality of the believer. I know it goes against what you've heard, but falling in love is not the reality of the believer. Why? Because anything that you fall into does not involve wisdom, right? And so the whole premise of these 7 types of daters and what we're going to talk about over these next couple of weeks is really using wisdom and understanding when we choose to date individuals or when we choose to be in love with individuals. And so the believer doesn't say, I fell in love, because anything you fall into does not involve wisdom. It does not involve understanding. Now unto him, basic Bible verse, that is able to keep you from falling. It is God's desire in all things for you not to fall into anything, right? So when you say you fell in love, what you really don't realize you are probably doing is you are probably admitting that you fell into something. You stumbled into something, and perhaps it possibly did not involve all of the wisdom or all of the understanding that you needed to have. Oftentimes, we are succumbed to situations, and we are involved in situations, not because they're the right things, but because we fell in them. And when you fall in them, you find yourself oftentimes operating or moving in a space where there is no wisdom, there is no understanding. And so hear me, a love that does not involve wisdom, a love that you fall into, a love that does not involve wisdom, that does not involve understanding, is a blind love. And I don't care what you say, I don't care what TV show you saw it on, a blind love is not wise at all. A blind love is not wise. Go ahead and drop it in the comments. That's your first PowerPoint besides principle 1. A blind love is not wise. It's not wise because you are attempting to evaluate something in absence of wisdom and understanding. Blind love is not wise. I know there's shows out there, blind date, what is it? 24-hour wedding or something. You meet folk and you marry them in 24 hours. Listen, blind love is not wise. There is no wisdom in blind love. You need to see what you're doing, and you need to see who you're doing it with. This is so important. And you need to take the opportunity to see as much as you can see, so that, again, dating then becomes a matter of destiny and becomes a matter of what it is God has designed for you, and less of a matter of I'm just falling into this situation. All right. Blind love is not wise, and blind love should be balanced. Okay. Blind love is not, balanced. So it's not wise, and blind love is also not balanced, which means a love that lasts should involve wisdom along with feeling. Here's what we tend to do. We tend to label love based on a feeling or an emotion or something that makes our stomachs bubble at the moment. And the problem with that is, if your love or who you claim to love or what you claim to love is only based on feeling or emotion, those things run dry. Those things expire. Those things can become very annoying. So your love has to involve both feeling and wisdom, because I'll tell you, they kind of work hand in hand together. When wisdom is involved in your love choices, even when you don't feel right or feel good in the relationship or feel good in the situation, when wisdom has been involved, you are more likely to stick it out and stick it through, not based on what it feels like, but based on what you know. Feelings are what it feels like, right? It's the emotion of the moment. Wisdom is the element that taps into what we know. So if love then has to involve wisdom and feeling, right? We're not discounting the bubblies that you feel in your stomach, right? We're not discounting how your heart pounds when you're around whatever. We're not discounting that, but hear me in love. If love has to involve wisdom and feeling, that's saying that it needs to involve what it feels like, but it also needs to involve what we know, right? And so do not enter into a love situation without a strong element of wisdom, because connected to the warm and fuzzies and the bubblies that you feel, connected to the warm and fuzzies and the bubblies should also be a layer of wisdom. Yeah, I like them. They turn me on. They're attractive. But wisdom says the other reason I like them is because their destiny lines up with mine. They got dreams. They got goals. They got aspirations. They got plans. They have a future. They're not time wasters, right? And so it is the warm and fuzzies combined with what you know that creates the formula for balanced love. Blind love ain't balanced because blind love only is based on what it feels like. Blind love is only based on what the moment gives you. Whereas wisdom, a real love, should be a combination of wisdom and what it is that it feels like. All right. That's principle number one. Principle number two. Second principle about dating I want you to know is that dating that works is not an accident. It's a choice. Principle two. Dating that works is not an accident. It's a choice. Here's the second principle of dating before we get into the scavenger. Dating that works is not an accident. It's a choice. Who you decide to date will be determined in part by how serious you take your destiny and the destiny you are choosing. Who you decide to date will be determined in part by how serious you take your destiny and the destiny that you are choosing. Because when you choose someone to date, you are also choosing a destiny. You cannot choose a dater without choosing a I'm blind. Without choosing a destiny. You can't choose one without the other. You cannot choose a dater without keeping in mind your future. And anybody, hear me, that chooses someone to date without thinking about their future is operating in blind love, is operating in blind feeling. I'm going to take it a step further. That anybody who chooses a dater without considering their future is wasting time. I'm going to say that again because I don't want you to miss it. You are wasting time if who you choose to date is not also connected to what you choose about your future. You're wasting time. You are wasting time if you just choose to date somebody and not think about your future when you make the choice. Are y'all with me? Because I'm here to tell you, many of us chose people to date based on what it felt like, and we didn't even think about our destiny. We didn't even think about our future. We didn't even think about what God had in store for us ahead. We didn't even think about the life plans and goals that we had. And so what you have done is you have made a move based on the emotions of the moment and not the wisdom that it involves. So when we choose to date someone, it is not an accident. It's a choice, right? So when we're making these choices, then we don't make as many emotional decisions as we make business decisions, okay? When you're making dating decisions, stop making so many emotional decisions and start making business decisions. I ain't just dating you because you cute. I ain't just dating you because you fine. I ain't just dating you because you wear a size 15 shoe. I'm dating you because it's a business decision. And something about you aligns with the business that's called my future. I want you to put it in the comments. Dating decisions have to be business decisions. Can you put that in the comments? Dating decisions that matter. Now, I'm not talking about those of you that just want to entertain the streets. You want to belong to the streets and you don't mind dating people who belong to the streets. I ain't talking about y'all. And I'm going to deal with the streets in a few minutes. I'm not talking about y'all, but I'm talking about people who don't want to waste time. Dating decisions need to be business decisions. You ain't just making a decision based on an emotion. You ain't making a decision just based on 30 minutes. You ain't making a decision, well, for some folk, based on 3 minutes. You're not making a decision based on none of this stuff. Dating decisions that are connected to your purpose are business decisions. Dating decisions have to be, and what business are we about, Pastor? We are about the business called our destiny. We're about the business called our future. And those decisions that we make as it relates to dating need to be lined up with the things that go with our future. So if you're going to make a business decision, right? I got a business. I'm about to open up another one, working on some things. And let me tell you something. I don't just open businesses without doing research and asking questions. Before you make, I'm still in principle 2. I'm just getting warmed up. Before you make a dating decision, you better do some research and you better ask some questions. Did y'all hear what I said? Before you make a dating decision, you better do some research and ask some questions. Yes, do some research and ask some questions. Who's your mama? Where's your daddy? Who are your uncles and aunts and cousins? Where does your family live? And what kind of connection do you still have to your family to this day? Ask questions. Now, let me tell you something. I'm going to warn you. When you are asking questions to somebody who wants to waste your time, they're going to be annoyed by your questions. Because nothing annoys a time waster like questions. Don't forget what I told you. Nothing annoys a time waster like questions. Ask them. Ask questions. Stop walking around assuming folks come from great situations. All of us have some challenges that are connected to us. You better ask questions and do some research. Look, if you got to pay $9.99 and do a background investigation in today's day and times, pull you a background. If it's serious, go on and pull you a background investigation. But you need to make sure you ask some questions. Ask questions. And Facebook don't count. One of the things they taught us, PhD program, is there's such a thing called credible resources for research. And Wikipedia ain't one of them. My heart goes out to those of you that are trying to research stuff and you go to Google and you type Wikipedia and ask questions. You do realize that people who enter information into Wikipedia are people just like you and I. They ain't expert matters. Expert subject matters. This is just normal, everyday people that can enter information. So when you make dating decisions based off of a Facebook profile photo or what people put in their Facebook profile or Instagram profile, you're crazy. I'm sorry, I'm screaming. You are crazy. Why? Because that ain't research. Folk can have you thinking what they want to think off a social media profile. Do you know how many people I have encountered over social media that I was like, wow, really impressed. And then when I ran into them in real life, it was like running into a tarantula. People can make you think what they want to think on social media. And in this day and age and generation, so many people are making dating decisions off of social media and dating apps. I'm about to get in trouble. I feel myself screaming. Pastor, you got a problem with dating apps? It might not be my cup of tea. Because a lot of these Photoshop crop pictures that you seeing and all of this impressive stuff, none of that means a hill of beans if it ain't really what it is. Have you ever, what is the name of the show where the people, Catfish, that's it. Catfish. Have you ever seen the show Catfish? I hate to put it to you this way, but many of us have made destiny decisions off of profiles and fake research, and we've been catfished. No, you need to go to Google, do some Boolean searches, just look it up. Some Boolean searches or tap into some research. And if it gets here, you need to do some research and know where folk come from. Because many of you have given away your destiny based off of Wikipedia and social media searches. Find out who folks' mama is. Find out how many kids they got. About to get in trouble. You thought they had one. You get serious. You show up. And it's a whole Brady Bunch sitting there in the living room. And by then, you already deep into the relationship. You didn't fell in love, or at least didn't fell in love with the sex. I'll deal with that later. And now you just stuck between your feelings and the wisdom that you did not use. Do some research. You thought they had one baby's mama. Next thing you know, come to find out, they got the whole women's softball team. Y'all not listening to me. And you can find these things out if you just ask questions. And listen, if you ask a question and the answer doesn't sound right, I need a whole lot of water, and I got it. I'm full tonight. If you ask a question and the answer don't sound right, keep asking questions till you get the right answer. You hear what I'm saying? Ask questions. Fellas, I know she told you, man, listen, man, I ain't saying nobody else. It's just you. But if you just keep asking questions and do some research and just keep digging, you'll be amazed at what you can find. Ask questions, because nobody gets annoyed by questions but a time waster. I'm about to help y'all before I even get to principle 3. And it's simple. If you are trying to date somebody and they get annoyed by your questions, go ahead and move on. You have a time waster on your hand. I'm going to say that again. If they are annoyed by your questions, move on. You are dealing with a certified time waster. Pastor, I don't like all these questions, man. I don't want nobody asking me no questions unless you're a lawyer or a judge. Well, then that's fine. They may not want your questions. You have to ask some questions. And they can go to somebody else who don't mind not knowing any information, or will just look at a Facebook or Instagram social picture and just make decisions and move on. And let them go on and do what they do. But I'm telling you, unless you got time to waste, you better ask questions. And you better ask as many questions as you need to ask in order to feel comfortable, combined with prayer, feel comfortable in proceeding forward. But ask questions, and ask a lot of them. You got kids, huh? You take care of your kids? What do your kids think about you? Because if they don't take care of their kids, it don't make sense to have kids with them. That's male or female. Because I know we talk about taking care of kids. And let me just give another disclaimer. When I use certain terms, you all should know this if you were on the last session. When I use certain terms, every term that I use tonight is gender unbiased, which means it can go for male or female. There's a narrative out there that men are the only ones that don't take care of the kids. No, women don't take care of kids either. Fellas, you better ask questions, because if you go to Lenox Mall or go to whatever mall and you see her and you see her kid and she's sharp and the baby looked like the baby just crawled out the bathtub with nothing, or just out the bed with no new clothes, no nothing, didn't brush their hair, didn't wash their teeth, it's a red flag. Because no parent should look sharper than their kids. I'm getting in trouble already. And I ain't even touched principle 3. Fellas, if she's sharper than her kids, run. Run. The other direction, run. If her hair done every day and theirs ain't, run. Run. Ladies, he ain't taking care of his kids. I don't care how good the sex is. I don't care what positions he folds you up in. If he ain't taking care of his kids, what makes you think he gonna take care of making babies with you? Now, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you virtually. Pastor, I got the good stuff. I got the good. He ain't never had nobody like me. The devil's a liar. He's a liar. He bald-headed. Got an eyeball right here. If he ain't taking care of your kids, I don't care how good your sex is, he ain't going to take care of your kids either. It's quiet on this virtual stream. Talk back to me. Say something. But you better ask a whole lot of questions. Principle 3, let me move on. The third principle of dating before we deal with this scavenger is this. Y'all ready? Third principle is this, and it's a reiteration of what I talked about a few weeks ago, and it's worth mentioning. and it's the bad news of the session, and it's this. Principle 3 is there is not somebody for everybody. The third principle of dating is an unfortunate one for some, and that is there is not somebody for everybody. I hate to break the bad news to you, but singleness is the destiny and the gift for some people. I know, Pastor, no, Pastor, there's somebody out here for everybody. Just look around. No, I'm not talking about the choices you made. I'm talking about the destiny you're thinking about. There is not, in all capital letters, you need to put the word not in all capital letters. There is not somebody out here for everybody. No. Singleness is the destiny and the gift of some people. 1 Corinthians, you want Bible. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 6 through 9. 1 Corinthians, I'm losing half the string. Y'all need to go ahead and tag 5 more people right now. Do it now. Just do it. Because when I said that, folk just started, well, I'm out. Don't be out. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 6 through 9. I hate to break the news to you, but there is not somebody out there for everybody. And Paul says it like this in 1 Corinthians. Put the verse on the screen. Those of you that are taking virtual notes. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 6 through 9. Let me read it to you. I say this as a concession. I'm in verse 6, not as a command, but I wish everyone were single just as I am. Yet each person has a special gift from God of one kind or another. So I say to those who aren't married and to widows, it's better to stay unmarried just as I am. But if they can't control themselves, verse 9, they should go ahead and marry. It's better to marry than to burn with lust. What is Paul saying? Paul is saying that your ultimate gift, and the ultimate gift for some people, will be to be what he is or what he was, and that was single. Because Paul was single, he could dedicate his life to his ministry and to his works. And if you're single, you can dedicate your life to God. You can dedicate your life to your business. You can dedicate your life to your children if you have whatever. But I'm here to tell you, I hate to break the news to you, but some people, the destiny that God has for you is singleness. I know that's just the worst news to say on a dating series. But Pastor, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna find. The Bible says he that findeth the wife findeth the good thing. Somebody gonna find me, Pastor. And they looking for me. Okay, that's fine. They may find you, but listen, make sure they find you and you don't find yourself. What are you talking about? Because many of us will say that God sent people when really we made the decision ourselves. And I'm gonna say this to you. God ain't obligated to correct no mess that you made on your own. Y'all hear what I'm saying? God is not obligated to correct any mess that you make on your own. He's not obligated. He's not obligated to correct it. I know this ain't what you want to hear yet. I'm about to get into the scavenger. I know, but hear what I'm saying. In your hurry to want to have somebody, just make sure that it's part of God's plan for you to have them. Because if it ain't part of God's plan for you to have them, one way or the other, you're going to end up single. Either it's going to be by choice or it's going to be by force. Y'all don't like the way I'm talking here, but you're going to end up single because it's not everybody's destiny to be with somebody. Well, Pastor, they told me there's somebody out here for everybody. Well, you look around sometimes and you wonder, and maybe it is somebody out here for everybody. And you look at people that are paired up and you ask yourself, well, how did that end up with that? And how did she end up with he? And how did he end up with whatever? I get that. I understand that. But understand this, that oftentimes when those decisions are made, they aren't God decisions. They are self decisions. And just because you're with somebody doesn't mean God chose them. You put that in the comments. Just because you got them don't mean God chose them. Ooh. Just because you got them don't mean God chose them. I hate to break the news to you, but just because they're in your life don't mean God sent them. Just because they're in your life don't mean that was God's choice for them. I'm here to tell you, The same $5, no, the same $10 that can buy a steak is the same $10 that can buy bologna. It's the same money. The same $10 that can buy a steak is the same $10 that can buy bologna. And just because you bought bologna doesn't mean God meant for you to have bologna. You just got bologna. So we got to be careful in saying that there is somebody out there. I'm saying there's got to be somebody out there. I don't know. Maybe your destiny is that of Paul, and that he wants you to dedicate your life to greater. Think about all the books Paul wrote. Think about all the scholarly things that he's offered to us as believers that I don't even know if he would be able to accomplish with a spouse. May not have the time to do it, or the energy, or the effort, or the interest. So you don't know the weight of the calling God has on your life. And you've got to understand that based on the weight of the calling God has on your life and the purpose he has for your life, it could very well be that your destiny is to be single. And that's okay. He will teach you how to be content and happy, even being single. But don't you dare make a decision that ain't a business decision and call it a God decision. Because if it ain't a business decision, it's not a God decision. Would you put that in the comments? I'm getting warmed up now. If it ain't a business decision, it's not a God decision. Don't care how fine he is. Don't care how fine she is. If it ain't a business decision, it's not a God decision. Because a business decision will involve your future. Business decision is going to involve your destiny. Are y'all with me? All right. Good. If you're with me, and if you didn't like that, I want you to be honest and just put ouch in the comments. It's fine. Because I know some of y'all didn't like that single talk. Those are the 3 principles. I'm about to get into this guy. Just put ouch, or pray for me, Pastor. God help me, whatever. Amen. You can do amen if you want to play it off. But yeah. That was especially for those of you, your 30s, you had a plan to be married by 30, and now you're 45, and you're like, God, where is he? Or God, where is she? And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't mean that he or she ain't out there, but it could also mean that maybe God has some things he wants you to accomplish before he sends you what it is that you want. Amen, Walls. All right, let's talk about this scavenger. So the scavenger is data type number 1 that I want to deal with tonight. And, the scavenger is an interesting animal. And so I'm going to give you 5 characteristics of a scavenger tonight. And I'm going to try to take my time. I wanted to be finished in about 20 minutes, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be close. But I'm going to give you 5 characteristics of a scavenger, right? We're going to go through all of these types over the next couple of weeks. And so type 1 is the scavenger. So go ahead and invite people if you haven't already. I see the Facebook number is steady climbing. Come on, Instagram. Y'all get your people on here. Type 1 is the scavenger. I'm going to give you 5 characteristics, all right? Characteristic number 1. Characteristic number 1 of the scavenger is they are animals that consume dead things. Scavengers are animals. This is characteristic number 1. Scavengers are animals that consume dead things. They consume dead things. Their hunger, their appetite is always more important than the source of what feeds it. They are animals that consume dead things. Doesn't matter where they get it, what they want. Doesn't matter how they get what they want. Doesn't matter what means they go about getting what they want. As long as they get what they want, that's all that matters. And they go specifically after dead things. Hear me. Because the implication for this, for daters, is powerful. If you have a scavenger on your hands, you have somebody who has sensed defeat in you. If you have a scavenger on your hands, you have somebody who has sniffed defeat or death or a dying spirit in you. This is important. Why? Because scavengers specifically are meat seekers. They are going after meat. And they prefer meat that's already dead or dying. This is probably too deep already, and I'm in characteristic number 1. Hear me. Scavengers, hyenas, coyotes, condors. They prefer meat, and they prefer meat that's either already dead or dying. All they want is meat. How can I put this? If the kids are in the room, just cover their ears, say a prayer over them real quick. They're going to need this. I want to say this to you. If all you attract are people who prefer meat, you have a scavenger on your hand. Yeah. And I'll take it a step further. If all they are going after is the meat, I'm getting in trouble tonight. If all they are going after is the meat and all they really want you for is the meat, then it's a sign that they sense something about your meat that's already dying. No, I ain't talking about M-E-E-T. I'm talking about M-E-A-T. If all you attract are people who are interested in the meat, I'm here to tell you, you not only have a scavenger on your hand, but that person has sniffed something dying about you. This is probably too much. Should I stop? I'm just on characteristic number 1. All they want to do is have sex. Y'all can't talk. You can't even get through a communication. And the only time you get along is when y'all have sex. You probably got a scavenger on your hands. I know. The only time y'all get along is when you doing the do. And every other time you arguing, every other time you disagreeing, you never seeing face to face, eye to eye. But the one time y'all see eye to eye is when he or she asks for something. You probably got a scavenger on your hands. And I'm here to tell you that scavenger preys on the weak and the feeble. A scavenger knows when meat is either dead or dying. And a scavenger that knows that the meat is dead or dying is going to attack that meat until they are satisfied. And when the scavenger, I feel the Holy Ghost now, when the scavenger can no longer get more meat off the bone, the scavenger discards the bone, watch this, and looks out for the next piece of meat. Scavengers are meat seekers. Don't even care what condition you in. They're meat seekers and they prefer dead meat. Dead meat. Are y'all following me tonight? Is this too much? Are you upset? Because it's about to get worse. Meat seekers. If all you have been able to offer who you're dating is meat, and that's the only time y'all see eye to eye, that's the only time they see value in you, that's the only time they see some worth in you, you got a scavenger on your hands. And listen, they keep coming back for more, Not because you all of that. Well, Pastor, you don't know what positions in the splits I do. And Pastor, you don't know what kind of position I can fold her up in. Doc. I don't care about none of that. They coming back to you because they sense something that's dead about you. And when a scavenger knows something is dead, their job is to get all the life out of you they can. You got a scavenger on your hands. All right? They prey on the weak and the feeble because you're an easy target. I know you think you're the bomb like that. I know you think it's just like that. And so the only reason, yeah, Pastor, we having problems, but when we doing the do, we get along. And you think it's because you got the good. I hear you. But I'm here to tell you, it ain't because you got the good. It's because you got a scavenger on your hands. And the scavenger can see that there is something weak and feeble about you. Oh, y'all don't like this kind of talking tonight. Maybe I'm in the wrong place. But you're weak and feeble, and that makes you an easy target. Y'all with me? Characteristic number 2. Let me move on. Characteristic number 2 of a scavenger is this. Scavengers, their job is to clean the earth of garbage. The job of a scavenger, this is characteristic number 2. The job of a scavenger is to clean the earth of garbage. The job of a scavenger is to clean the earth of garbage. Their number one job is to help the earth. You didn't even realize that a scavenger had a purpose. They do. They got a purpose. When you driving down the road, you see roadkill on the side, and it's fresh. It's a fresh deer that just got hit by a car and is sitting there. If the police or somebody doesn't come and get it and shovel it off, just hold on. A vulture, something, scavenger, some type of scavenger will come and eat away at that deer until they get it away. And what people don't realize is scavengers actually have a purpose. And their purpose is to clean the earth of garbage. And this is why scavengers often run in packs. And that's okay. Look, I like National Geographic Discovery. It can be a little nasty and gruesome sometimes. But notice one of the main scavengers that I'm probably going to talk a lot about tonight is the hyena. Hyenas, if you see a hyena in the wild, hyenas are never by themselves. You might see one by themselves, but sometimes that one is trying to play you and lure you in until they can get around the pack, and then they destroy you. Scavengers always run in packs, and that's okay. Why? They belong together because they like the same things. I'm going somewhere with this. Scavengers run in packs and belong together because they like the same things. And this is important. Because they run together and because they like the same things, then you got to understand that their job together is not for you to be with them, but their job together is for them to protect us from the things that's already dead or dying. Which is why, let me just go on and say this. You got to let a hoe be with a hoe. Male, female, bi, tri, whatever. You got to let a hoe be with a hoe. Because when you run with scavengers that are whores, then you end up becoming a casualty of the situation. Y'all don't like this. They run in packs. And the reason they run in packs is because their job is to do cleanup. So if you know you got a scavenger on your hands, the best thing you can do is refer them to somebody who do what they do. The best thing you can do is refer. Look, you asking questions. Do you want to be married? And they tell you straight up, nah, I ain't trying to be married. I'm out here trying to play. Stop trying to turn a scavenger into a spouse. Just turn the scavenger to the streets. Okay, great. It's nice meeting you. I think you're cute. I think you're attractive. It's nice meeting you. But, just keep doing what you do, because there's a whole lot of people out here that scavengers just like you. But when you try to turn a scavenger into a spouse, you end up with somebody that whose primary job is to protect you from the dead, not for you to become one of the dead. Scavengers run in packs. I hate to break this to y'all. Watch this. I hate to break this to y'all. You remember what I said earlier about asking questions? You're going to ask questions. You're not going to get involved until you ask questions. One of the things you need to be asking the people that you're dating to make sure you don't have a scavenger is ask them who they hang out with. Hey, Brother Ray. Hey, Sister Susie. I think you cute. I think you attractive. Who are your 5 best friends? Watch this. Because hyenas don't hang with cows. Hyenas don't hang with elephants. Hyenas don't hang with monkeys. Hyenas don't hang with penguins. Hyenas only hang with hyenas. And let me tell you something. In the process of you asking questions, if you asking about who folk hang with, sometimes you can pick out a scavenger, not by the person, but by the people that they hang with. Because I'm here to tell you, if you asking questions and their top 5 friends are people who like to clean up the garbage that we call meat, then you got a scavenger on your hands. I don't care who they are. I know y'all don't like this. I don't care who your friends are. If your friends all got body counts that average between 40 and 50, you're not about to walk around here and act like your body count is 5. Y'all quiet up in here. I know this is really upsetting some of y'all. My Facebook number is dropping. I get it. Yeah. Here you are. No, Pastor, I'm an anomaly. You can't even spell anomaly. No, Pastor, I'm an anomaly. Pastor, I just hang with them because I'm trying to help them. Their body count 45, 50, 60. That's their body count. But Pastor, my body count 3, 4. That's all I got. No, the devil's still a bald-headed liar. Because hyenas hang with hyenas. To check the pack. Why? Because their job collectively is to clean up the garbage. Which is why these folk that ain't serious about you, just turn them over to the hyenas. These people that really don't want to be for real with you, just turn them on over to the hyenas. I'm trying to help y'all. These people that ain't serious about your destiny and trying to have a destiny with you, just turn them over to the hyenas. These people who really get annoyed by your questions and get annoyed by your conversations about the future and get annoyed about your conversations about where they come from and their past, just turn them over to the hyenas. Because there's a whole pack of them that's dying to go clean up the garbage around the earth. I'm telling you, there ain't no better couple than 2 hyenas together. Look, there is no better couple than 2 folks that's got high body counts. I'm trying not to get in trouble, but I can't help it. You take 2 people that's got high body counts, and they make an amazing couple because they after the same thing. They're after the same thing. So I'm here to tell you, hyenas running packs. If you sense you got a hyena on your hands, turn them over. Just turn them over to the hyenas and let them do what they do. Some of y'all are stressed out over hyenas that would rather run the streets. You stressed out over somebody. You trying to make a hyena into a husband. You trying to make a hyena into a wife. And I'm here to tell you, they don't want you. They don't want what you stand for. They would rather run with the pack and go after fresh meat than to deal with your destiny and future. All right. Characteristic number 3. Is this blessing anybody? If this blesses anybody, if it is, just fill it up with hearts. I want to make sure you're on the line with me tonight. I feel like I'm losing some of you. Characteristic number 3 of a scavenger. Y'all ready? Characteristic of 3 of a scavenger is this. Scavengers are not dedicated to being just one kind of animal. Listen to me. Scavengers are not dedicated to being just one kind of animal. This is really important. I want you to hear me. Scavengers are not dedicated to just being one kind of animal. This is important. Why? Because scavengers, I initially used to think that scavengers were birds until I did some research and discovered that scavengers are a variety of different animals that primarily enjoy dead things. We talked about that. But it also reminded me of this, that a scavenger might present themselves in many forms, but their goal is the same: to find the dead or the dying thing. I need y'all to catch this. A scavenger might present themselves in many kinds of forms, but their number one goal is the dead or the dying thing. Just as a dog can sniff fear in a human, a scavenger is looking to sniff the dead thing. Because when a scavenger sniffs or senses something dead, a scavenger can be a hyena, a scavenger can be a condor, a scavenger can be a wolf, a scavenger can be a raccoon, a scavenger can be a crow, a scavenger can be whatever it needs to be to get what it needs to get. And this is the crazy thing about a scavenger. Their chameleon nature makes them unpredictable. The chameleon nature of a scavenger is what makes them unpredictable. And to the dater, especially the dater that is dead. And when I say dead, I mean you are positioned where you are accepting anything, you're allowing anything, you're attracted to anything, you're not asking questions, you're not thinking about your future. To the dater that is dead, hear me, their unpredictability can make them attractive. Listen to me, y'all can't miss this. The unpredictable nature of a scavenger can make them attractive when really they're dangerous. Let me give you the best example I can give you. Oh, well, I really like Mike because Mike, he's just so unpredictable. One day he could be like this, and the next day he could be like this, and the next day he can function like this, and then one day he's like this. Let me tell you something. I ain't got no problem with people being able to switch up and to fit in spaces and rooms and situations. I ain't got no problem with that. But let me tell you something. Anything that is so unpredictable that you don't know what to expect at any given time is dangerous. It's dangerous. Anything that is so unpredictable that you don't know what to expect at any given time is dangerous. It's dangerous. At some point, you ought to be able to figure out what it is that you got on your hand. Instagram, I'm about to lose you. I'm going to drop you. I'm about to add you on. All right? So I want y'all to get back in the call. Come on, get back in the call. Do me a favor. I want you to put in the comments right now, I should be able to figure you out sometimes. Would you do that for me? I should be able to figure you out sometimes. Put it in the comments. I should be able to figure you out sometimes. And this is for all of you that think it's cool and that you content being with people that are one way one day and another way the next day. I'm here to tell you that there is nothing probably more dangerous than to be connected to somebody who on a day-by-day basis is so unpredictable that you don't even know what you got. And one of the crazy characteristics about a scavenger is that scavengers are unpredictable. And part of the unpredictable part of their nature that can make them attractive is also the unpredictable part of their nature that can make them dangerous. You know what's so crazy about hyenas? I watch, I was telling you earlier, I watch National Geographic, and I like it's the nerd in me. But what's so crazy about hyenas is this. If you watch shows on hyenas, hyenas will laugh, right? You heard of laughing hyenas. Hyenas will laugh and be chuckling and be playing. And you be thinking, wow, man, this is a pretty cool pet. Like, this is a pretty cool animal, a hyena. It's pretty cool, right? And then they look up and they see a rhinoceros that's by itself and ain't got no protection. And the hyena keeps on laughing. Then hyena gets near the rhinoceros and is still laughing, but is sizing the rhinoceros up. And when the hyena makes clear to the rhinoceros that they're about to attack, then the hyena calls help from the other hyenas, and they go from being laughing animals to being vicious animals. Let me tell you something. You better stop walking around thinking people cute because they unpredictable. Did you hear what I said? You better quit walking around thinking that it's cute that people are so unpredictable. Let me tell you something. You better off, when it comes to who you dating, at least having an idea of what you got on your hands. Yeah, people can change. Yeah, people grow. I understand a little. People grow. They move and grow beyond things and grow beyond spaces and grow beyond behaviors and grow beyond thoughts. I get that. But you better get to a point and a place with whoever you choose to date, whoever you choose to marry, whatever, you better make sure that 90% of them ain't unpredictable. And you need to be positioned to be able to say, if such and such is in such and such position, this is what you will get. If such and such is in such and such place, this is what you will get. I'm going to tell you something. One surefire way that many of you know you got a scavenger is the fact that you don't know what they might do in certain situations. I'm helping y'all tonight. Y'all don't like this. You got a scavenger if you cannot tell me with a certainty what they might do in certain situations. Now, I understand this is partly guessing. This is partly an educated guess. But the educated guess is going to be based on the fact that you've asked questions, you've dived into who they are, you've dived into what they're about, you've dived into what their future looks like, you've dived into what they desire for their future. And so your ability to try to give an educated guess on what they might be about is based on the fact that you've done your research and you've asked questions. I'm here to tell you, if you are with anybody that you cannot predict their movement from one season to the next or one space to the next, you got a problem. Watch this. You can't travel separate from a scavenger. Because if you got a scavenger on your hand and you send your scavenger to Miami and you stay where you are and you send the scavenger to Miami, you ain't going to be able to rest at night because you're going to be worrying about what the scavenger is going to do in that environment. Now, hear me. You can send somebody down there that you think you got figured out and you ain't got figured out either. I hear that. I hear that argument. But your chances of that are lessened when you are connected to somebody that is a destiny dater, somebody that you ask questions, that you have vetted out, that you are trusting on the level of moving forward to your future. A scavenger? A scavenger will laugh with you in North Carolina and go to Miami and turn into a whole fool. And it's because they're unpredictable. And listen, you cannot let yourself get stressed out by people you are dating that are unpredictable. Listen, too much inconsistency is a red flag. Would you put that in the comments? I'm helping y'all tonight. Too much inconsistency is a red flag. I don't care what it is. If they make up their beds 3 days and 4 days, they don't make up their bed. They're too inconsistent. Too inconsistent. Too much inconsistency is a red flag. It's a red flag. Straight up. It's a red flag. And if there's one thing that a scavenger is inconsistent. Because a scavenger, like a hyena, can laugh 1 minute and the next minute turn into Freddy Krueger. Too much inconsistency is a red flag. In fact, the Bible even tells us plainly, Jesus said, I'd rather you be hot or cold. But because you lukewarm, because you in the middle, I'll spit you out of my mouth. Listen, too much inconsistency is a red flag. And anybody that's that inconsistent, where you don't know what they're going to be from one moment to the next, from one situation to the next, from one atmosphere to the next, from one space to the next, and you can't say for an assurance that if they're in this position, if they're in this space, this is what I'm going to get. You have a scavenger on your hand. Because you are dealing with somebody who's a hyena one day, who's a crow the next, who's a wolf the next, who's a condor the next, who's a raccoon the next, and you got something on your hands. That's a scavenger. Inconsistent people. It's a characteristic of a scavenger. Characteristic 4. Y'all ready? Is this blessing you tonight? Characteristic number 4 of the scavenger is this. They will literally try anything. I'm going to get in trouble here. This is going to be bad. Scavengers, characteristic number 4. Scavengers will literally try anything. We'll try anything to see if something works. We'll try anything to see if they like something. We'll try anything to see if something is fun. We'll try anything to see. Scavengers will try anything. Now, this is important for this reason. Because scavengers have not identified a type, right? Because a hyena doesn't care if it's a dead deer, or if it's a dead cow, or if it's a dead moose, or a dead frog. It just wants meat. So if a hyena has not identified, or a scavenger has not identified a type, watch this. At the point of need, everything is appealing to them, right? So when a hyena is hungry, it don't care where the meat comes from. A hyena wants whatever is going to satisfy them because they just want meat. They don't care what kind of meat it is. They don't care where the meat comes from. They don't care about none of that. They just want it. At the point of need, everything is attractive to them. And this is the danger of a scavenger, because scavengers don't have a type. And if you don't have a type, you don't have a standard. What are you getting to, preacher? Scavengers don't have a type because scavengers have no standards. Ooh. Scavengers have no standards. And listen, I don't care what you read. I don't care what your girlfriends told you. I don't care what you learned from Oprah. Anything that doesn't have a standard is out of control. You guessed it. If you don't have a standard, you out of control. What kind of color you like? Well, I like all the colors. You out of control. Well, what's your favorite ice cream? Well, Pastor, I don't really have a favorite ice cream. I like all the ice creams. You out of control. Well, Pastor, what's your favorite? What's your favorite car? I really don't have a favorite. I like all cars. As long as it's moving, then I'm good with it. You have no standard. And if you have no standard, you are out of control. Completely out of control. And scavengers have no standard. And what makes them dangerous is because they don't have a standard. They are willing to consume anything at the point of need or needing to be satisfied. You hear what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying? Scavengers, because they don't have a standard or a type, will literally consume or try anything. And that's what makes them dangerous, because they may get full, they may eat a lot, they may try a lot, they may be adventurous, they may be appealing because they're difficult to predict. But here's the problem: they might get full off of a meal, but they never get satisfied. You will never be enough for a scavenger, because a scavenger doesn't have a type. And even if you fit their type today, it don't mean you're going to fit their type tomorrow. Are y'all listening to the old man? They might get full off of you, but they'll never get satisfied from you, which is why a scavenger can eat from your table, but never put a ring on your hand. I'm in trouble. A scavenger can take all your goods, get all your goods, snore when it's over, but they ain't gonna move forward with you, because while you might fill them up, you don't satisfy them. I'm preaching better than y'all saying amen. You got a scavenger on your hands. A scavenger will eat from your table, but never buy the table, because they don't have a type. They don't have a standard. And the only thing that can satisfy a scavenger is another scavenger. That's it. The only thing that can satisfy a scavenger is another scavenger. And this is the big one. This was almost worth another characteristic, but the last one is just a doozy. I may save this one for the book. And because they never get full, or because they get full but they never get satisfied, because they will try anything, they don't have a type, and they don't have a standard. Listen to me. This is what makes the scavenger selfish. Scavengers are incredibly selfish. Don't y'all forget this. Scavengers are incredibly selfish. Because sometimes you don't know you got somebody that don't have a standard, but you do have somebody who's incredibly selfish. Everything has to be about them. Everything has to satisfy them. Everything has to go their way. Everything has to go according to their plan. Everything has to go the way they designed it, or they ain't interested at all. You have to play with their toys, or they want to put the toys up. Scavengers are incredibly selfish. Incredibly selfish. And they're selfish because at the point of need, they're only looking for what's going to make them full. And when you no longer make them full, they will move on to something else that fills them up. But even that something else will never satisfy them. I'm trying to help y'all tonight. Is this blessing you? Characteristic 5. Fifth characteristic of a scavenger, and then I'm closing. They're incredibly selfish. And the reason they're selfish is because their standard is just what they like. And it's funny y'all mentioned narcissism, because narcissism is one of the two that I've added to the list. That's a bonus. I'm probably won't go over that in this lesson, but it's interesting. But a type of dater that I didn't mention the first time I did this lesson that has to be discussed is the narcissist. And that's one of the most powerful daters and one of the most dangerous daters you'll ever date, because a narcissist will have you questioning your value off of their selfishness. That's a free one tonight. When you got a narcissist, you'll be stepping back and questioning your own worth based off of the selfishness and the lack of standard that somebody else has. But we'll deal with that another time. Characteristic number 5. Holla if you hear me, if you're with me. The fifth characteristic of a scavenger is this. All right? Fifth characteristic of a scavenger is this. Scavengers are disease carriers. Scavengers are disease carriers. Scavengers, the fifth characteristic of a scavenger. It's the last thing. I feel like I got to wrap it up. Some of y'all look like you need prayer tonight. Scavengers are disease carriers. Scavengers are disease carriers. What do you mean, preacher? Both physically, because a scavenger eats dead or dying meat. So if a hyena is eating off of a deer that's been laying on the side of the road, that hyena is going to have all kinds of nasty diseases. This is why oftentimes things like foxes, which a fox could actually be considered a scavenger, oftentimes they are considered to be rabid animals, or animals that have rabies, because they feed off of anything, dead things, and those things give physical diseases. Physical diseases. Now, I could really deal with this physical disease thing with scavengers, and really sometimes you don't really have to say nothing. So if y'all can put any kind of 2 and 2 together, if you got a scavenger that's feeding the streets, you probably got somebody that's got some diseases too. I know y'all don't like this kind of preaching, but remember when I talked about asking questions and stuff? Part of those questions need to be, when was the last time you got tested? How many diseases have you had? And are they curable? Oh, Zion, pastor's getting in trouble tonight. Yeah, we don't even ask questions. And what's so crazy is I don't see how even in this day and time, you can have a one-night stand with somebody, and not only just have a one-night stand with them, but have an unprotected one. Even in the church. Ain't no exceptions to the rule. Be passing booty in the church like they pass the plate. Listen, scavengers, like animals, are disease carriers because they love meat, and they love dead meat. And it don't matter where the meat comes from, which is why this is a word, a heed of warning. This is the Lord talking. You better be careful dealing with folk who belong to the streets. Be careful dealing with folks who belong to the streets, because ain't nothing in the street but dead meat. Ain't nothing laying on the side of the street. When I get out here on the interstate, ain't nothing on the highway but dead meat. Nothing. So you better be careful dealing with scavengers, because when you are probably dealing with somebody who is a disease carrier. Y'all don't like this. So they're disease carriers, but in 2 ways. Physically, right? We went through that. I hope I broke that down and made that plain. But also spiritually. They're spiritual disease carriers. Why? Because they have been connected to everything. And what many of us don't understand is that when you physically connect with anything, not only is there a transfer in the natural, physically, there's also a spiritual transfer. Can I say this? Some of y'all mentally ain't been right since you've been with a scavenger. Because when you with a scavenger and there is an exchange, a physical exchange, sometimes it ain't just physical, sometimes it's an emotional exchange, then what you have exchanged with becomes a part of your spirit. And when it becomes a part of your spirit, it becomes a part of your DNA. And when it becomes a part of your DNA, it not only impacts you, but it impacts everything about you and connected to you. And this is the root and the core of how ties are created with people. Some of y'all, some of us weren't in love with people. We got hooked to them because of the connection that was made when we were physically attached to them. And you got to be careful, because scavengers will wear you out spiritually because they have so much to transfer to you. Listen, if anybody you dating causes your mood to come completely down, you might be with a scavenger. If anybody you dating that you claim to love, that you claim to can't live without, but they have your mood and your senses on a roller coaster, you might be with a scavenger. Because what you don't realize is that when there is an exchange with somebody who been with the streets, you ain't just getting them in the physical or the spiritual. You ain't just getting them. You getting everything and everybody they've been attached to. All right? Think about this. You learn this in Sex Education 101. They told you in Sex Education 101, watch this, that when you have sex with someone, you're having sex with everybody they have sex with. We understand that, right? All right? When you have sex with someone, you are having sex with everyone they have sex with. Watch this. If it's true in the natural, it's true in the spiritual. Because if you are with a scavenger who belongs to the streets, when you date them, you ain't just dating them. You dating everything that they've been with that's been on the side of the road. And this is where asking questions comes into play. Because if you ain't asking questions, then I'm here to tell you, it could be that part of the mental and emotional issues and struggles that you got right now is that the scavengers you were attached with not only messed you up physically, but they tore you up emotionally and mentally. And you got to be careful. You got to be careful. I'll say this too, and this is the last thing I'll say, and I'm going to close. The last thing I'll say on scavengers is this. You got to be careful with scavengers from this regard, because scavengers, this is also the space where friends with benefits lives. Let me just end it with this. If you want to know where friends with benefits, Pastor, how do I categorize the person I'm dating? Because, we're not really serious right now. We're not really serious. I do my own thing. They do their own thing, but when I got an itch, I call them. When they need a rub, they call me. So we're not really serious. We just friends, but we just do what we do or whatever. We just friends. Let me tell you something. The domain of the scavenger is the space called friends with benefits. Let me tell you why. Because you have already agreed that at the core of what you are connected to is your desire for something that's already dead. Good God Almighty. You do realize that if your greatest dating desire is to be connected to something, that the only thing you want from it is the meat, you are attracted to the dead thing. Did y'all hear what I said? You do realize that if at your greatest core, your only desire from a person is to just get the business when you want it, how you want it, on demand, friends with benefits, you do realize that you have self-identified as a scavenger. You have self-identified as a scavenger because you have said that your greatest goal and desire right now today is just to get the meat. And anybody who agrees to sacrifice meat and be okay without having to offer nothing else is dying. I'm going to say that again slow. Anybody who agrees to sacrifice just themselves with no other strings attached is already dying. Wow. Wow. Are y'all with me tonight? Is this making sense? What about preacher? Well, it's complicated. We talked about it's complicated. Because I'm here to tell you, if you think it's complicated, if you think, I'm coming to you, Shell. If you think it's complicated, I'm here to tell you, you don't really have what you think you got. Can a hyena be delivered? I just got the question. Well, Pastor, all I want to know is if I got a hyena on my hand and I really like them and I thought it was about it, but they really run in the streets and they just want dead stuff. Can a hyena be delivered? And I have a simple question for you. I have a simple question for you, and it's simple. Would you invite a hyena to live in your house? Would you? Would you invite a fox to live in your house? No. I'm about to go really deep here, and I'm closing with this. I'm about to go really deep here because the biblical part of me says anybody can be delivered. The biblical part of me says that anybody can be delivered. Anybody can be delivered. But then the biblical part of me also says that there are cases where people cannot be delivered or set free. Read in the New Testament where Jesus makes plain to us that all sins are forgivable except for that of blaspheming against the Holy Spirit, which means when you walk around and say there ain't no God, there ain't no Jesus, no Holy Spirit, you can't get forgiven for that. This is biblical. So I'm led to deduce that I'm not quite so sure a scavenger can be delivered. I'm not quite so sure a scavenger can be delivered. Because a scavenger, the only way a scavenger can change, hear me, the only way a scavenger can change or be changed is if their mindset is completely renewed. And scavengers, hear me, by nature of who they are, only desire meat. And they only want dead meat. So I don't know if they can be delivered. I honestly don't know if they can be delivered. But let me give you the bigger point here. The bigger point is this. If you know you got a scavenger on your hands, don't you try to deliver them. Because that's the problem with many of us. We think we can save folk. I'm gonna deal with that data real soon. We think we can save I got some folks on this line tonight. Oh, Pastor, not me, Pastor. I give anybody a chance and I can work with you. I can just save anybody. You the preacher dater. We're gonna talk about the preachers. You think you can save anybody, and I'm here to tell you, you can't even save scavengers. If you got a scavenger on your hand, the best thing you can do is fall back and let God deal with them. So I don't know if I can say it's impossible, but I am saying it is incredibly hard because a scavenger has to change their mentality. A scavenger has to be changed from the inside out, and it has to be a complete mental change and a complete spiritual change. And not only that, even if a hyena changes its nature, when you set a hyena in your house, it's going to be hard for you not to look at that hyena and not remember all the dead stuff that it ate. It's going to be hard to look at that hyena and not remember all the dead spaces it's been in. Are y'all helping me tonight, or is this too much? Is this too much tonight? So make sure you ask questions. Make sure you don't live in those spaces called friends with benefits, and live with those spaces, live in those spaces where it's complicated. No, it's not complicated. You've got to hold on to your purpose, and you cannot allow yourselves to be devoured by scavengers. All right. Did y'all get those 5 things? If you didn't get them, I want you to go back and listen to this recording tonight. It'll be on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, our website, Periscope. I want you to go back and listen to it tonight. But I hope this bless you. Listen, it's praying time. I feel like we need to pray. One of my elders had told me I've slayed everybody tonight, and that wasn't the plan. But y'all asked for this, and I'm giving you what you asked for. So I want to pray tonight. Do me a favor. If you have a prayer request, do me a favor. I want you to put in the comments right now what your prayer request is. If you have something that is personal that nobody can read, you should see moderators begin to put up the information where you can email your prayer requests to info@rehabcc.org. info@rehabcc.org. If you've got a private prayer request you don't want anybody to see, email it. If you've got something you want me to pray for this week, I get up every morning, 5:03. And before I work out, before I read, before I attack my day, the first thing that I do is I pray over your prayer request. I've been doing this for rehab now for what will be 7 years in August. And so I want to pray for you. I want to pray for your family. I want to pray for whatever it is that you're dealing with. And I want to pray for you this week, whatever it is. I want to pray for you and whatever it is that you're dealing with. So drop it in the comments right now. I want to give you 30 seconds to put in the comments right now what it is you want me to pray for. Maybe you want me to pray for your career. Maybe you want me to pray for your illnesses. Maybe you're battling some illnesses right now. Maybe some people connected to you, your family, are battling illnesses. I want you to put it in the comments right now. I need to see your prayer request. Whatever it is, I want to pray for you, not only right now, but I want to pray for you this entire week. I'm going to record these requests and make sure that we are praying for them all week long. Maybe you have someone that has been impacted by the recent events that have been going on in our country and in our world. Drop it in the comments. Drop it in the comments. Yeah, I hear you. All lives matter, but it won't matter until Black lives matter. And that's not a racist comment. I want you to pray for our Black young men who are definitely up against it right now. Put them in the comments. Maybe you've got a Black man that's in your family. Maybe you've got a Black man that you're connected to. Maybe you've got a Black son. I want you to put their names in the comments. I want to pray for them right now because I believe in the power of prayer. The Bible tells us that the effectual, fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much. It lasts always. And so I want to pray for you, your family. I want to pray for your Black men, your Black sons. I want to pray for your Black daughters. Whatever it is that you would like for us to pray for, we want to pray for them. And not just them. Let's pray for our brothers and sisters who are not Black, who are standing in the gap with us, believing God with us for change to take place in this country, for change to take place in our world. As crazy as he is, you need to pray for your president. You absolutely need to pray for your president. With all of the power, with all of the authority that he has, you need to pray for him. That God would get a hold of his mind and get a hold of his behavior, and that he does not cause a bad situation to be worse. It doesn't matter who it is. Yes, we even need to pray for our enemies. Yes, we need to even pray for people we don't like. Yes, we need to pray for people we didn't vote for. Yes, we need to pray for people who don't represent things we represent, because we have that obligation not only to ourselves, but we have that obligation to God. All right. Do me a favor. I hope you dropped your prayer requests in the comments. I see them still rolling in. This is good. I see them still rolling in. I hope you drop your prayer requests in the comments. Do me a favor. You know how we do every week. I want you to clasp your hands right now as a sign of faith. If you are by yourself, I want you to put your hands together like this, or just clasp your hands like this, just as a sign of touching and agreeing. If you are in a room with somebody, I want you to grab hands with them, because I want you to touch and agree with them as we pray. But I want to pray right now for all of you that are on this line. So come on, clasp your hands right now. If you're by yourself, grab hands. If you are with somebody else, and let's pray. You ready? Let's do it. Father, in Jesus' name, I thank you for this word, and thank you for this powerful lesson on dating. I pray, God, that you are glorified tonight. Help us, God, to not make decisions in our feelings, but make decisions according to our destiny. Make decisions according to our purpose and the plan that you have for our lives. God, I thank you for being a gracious God, the kind of God that allows us to rebound from bad decisions, that allows us to rebound from mistakes, and even allows us to rebound from habits. God, I pray now that you would give your people the strength to make good decisions. Give us the strength to make good decisions so that we can be everything that you've called us to be, not just in how we serve you, but who we connect to, who we are in relationship with, who we decide to grow with and develop. Help us, God, to make the right kind of decisions so that we can be everything you've called us to be in this hour. God, I pray a special prayer, not just for those people that are making dating decisions, but God, I pray a special prayer for this nation and this country, that God, you would not only hear our cry, but that God, you would allow something good and beneficial to come out of all of the events. Help us, God, to see you even in the midst of chaos. Help us, God, to see you even in the midst of tragedy. Help us, God, to see you, God, even in the midst of these difficult moments we're experiencing. And God, we promise that if you would allow us to see you, that we will glorify you. God, somebody needs to be saved even in the midst of this pain. Somebody, God, needs to understand that you are present even in the midst of this difficult moment. And so, God, help us to see you when we can't trace you. Help us, God, to understand you when it doesn't make sense. Help us, God, to put our trust in you when, God, everything around us, the system, people, relationships, circumstances have failed us. Help us, God, to trust you today like we never have before. And God, we'll continue to give your name glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name, amen. Would you do me a favor? If you prayed with me tonight, would you just drop in the comments right now? It is so. Would you do that? Drop in the comments right now. It is so. If you prayed that prayer tonight, I want you to drop in the comments with me. It is so. And I want you to know that as you're typing it is so, that I'm going to be praying for your prayer request all week long. I'm going to be praying for your prayer requests all week long. You may be asleep. I'm going to be up 5 o'clock. I'm going to be up. I'm going to be praying for your prayer requests, that God might continue to answer your prayers as only we know that he can. All right. Put it in the comments. It is so. I'm believing God for you. I'm believing God for your health. I'm believing God for your family. I'm believing God for your educational and business endeavors. I'm believing God for your mental sanity. I'm believing God to answer prayers in a special, special way. Yes, we've got rioting, and yes, we've got marching. Yes, we've got all of those things, but we cannot leave out the element called prayer, because prayer is still one of the most powerful weapons we will have against the enemy. And so I don't want you to leave out the power of prayer. Prayer is a powerful thing. And so just as we have prayed together just now, we will continue to pray all week long for what it is that God is doing. Listen, as I'm concluding tonight, if there is anybody that wants to be saved, if there's anybody that wants to be saved tonight, as we've always done since the beginning of this quarantine season and will continue to do, if there's anybody on this line that wants to be saved tonight, maybe you heard this message on dating. It was a very frank and candid message, but you heard God in the message pulling you to a greater level of standard, to a greater level of calling and purpose, and you want to be saved tonight. You want to dedicate your life to Christ. I want to pray with you tonight. Romans 10:9, we make salvation complicated, but Romans 10:9 simply tells us that if we confess with our mouths and believe with our hearts that Jesus Christ lived, died, rose again, that we are saved. Salvation is as simple as confession. He wants you to make a confession. And then after you make that confession, then he wants you to connect with other believers somewhere so that he can then give you an Acts 2 testimony and fill you with the power of his Holy Ghost. I believe in that. And so tonight, if you want to be prayer, if you heard something on this call, maybe you're in a watch party, maybe you're directly on the feed tonight, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, wherever you are. If you want to be saved tonight, I want you to stop what you're doing and I want you to touch and agree with me. And I want you to simply repeat after me tonight. And I believe that as you're repeating after me, everybody on this line that does not need to be saved, that's already saved, is going to touch and agree with you. All right. If you need to be saved, stop what you're doing. And I want you to repeat after me. Are you ready? Repeat after me. I believe that Jesus Christ was born of a virgin, lived on the earth just as I'm living. He suffered, bled, and died on an old rugged cross. But 3 days later, rose again, not only for my sins, but for the sins of this world. And because of that, I am saved. Listen, if you prayed that prayer, I want to personally clap my hands and welcome you to the kingdom of Christ. It is one of the most powerful kingdoms to be a part of. And I want to personally welcome you to the kingdom of Christ because of your confession. And listen, now that you've done that, I want to now encourage you to find you a church home somewhere. Doesn't matter where you are. We have people locally and here in North Carolina. We've got people regionally in Atlanta and in Florida. People across the country in California and Texas that are tuned in. We have people out of the country in Germany and France that tune in regularly every single week. I don't care where you are. I want you to find a Bible-believing, Bible-teaching church. And I want you to grow in the grace and the faith of God so that God could not only take you from confession, but he can take you and fill you with his precious Holy Ghost. I believe that. Find you a church home where they're teaching and preaching the word of God in a way that you can understand, in a way that you can apply to your life. If you don't have a church home, maybe you're tuned in tonight, maybe you're locally and you would love to be a part of the Rehab Christian Center. We would love to be your pastor. I would love to be your pastor. We would love to fellowship with you at the Rehab Christian Center. You should see moderators there with messages. If you would like to join, just simply like their message or put a comment there. And they will certainly reach out to you and get some information. Maybe you're not in the Greensboro area and this ministry has really blessed you and you really want to be a part of our ministry. We certainly welcome you to become virtual members. That's okay. You don't have a church home. We would love to be your pastor. I would love to be your leader. And I would love to be a part of your spiritual growth and development. That's what God has called us to be. That is what God has called us to do. And so I want to challenge you tonight in a special way to find you a ministry somewhere that you can be a part of where you can love and grow. All right. I'm praying for you. Listen, it's giving time. I want to challenge all of you. If this message has blessed you tonight, if this message has inspired you to get tonight, if it has blessed you and challenged you in any kind of way, empowered you in any kind of way, I want to challenge you to give tonight. So many of you have been so very kind and gracious to us during this COVID and quarantine season. And we have gone without nothing missing. God has really blessed us in a tremendous way. And I truly believe that if you take care of his people, he will take care of you. Many of you know our testimony. We share it because I believe people need to know in a world where everything is going so bad, they need to know the good things. And God has really blessed us to be a blessing to not only our city, but our country and even our world. We have blessed and been fortunate to have fed and clothed over 20,000 people in less than 7 years. Our ministry turned 7 in August. We turned 7 years old in August. We're a small ministry, only 200, maybe 250 people. But God has blessed us with no loans, no grants, no millionaire ballers, none of that stuff. He has blessed us to feed and clothe just over 20,000 people in less than 7 years. The reason he's done that is because we certainly have a heart for the city and the people in the city. And so I want to challenge you to give. If this broadcast has blessed you, you can give one of 3 ways. You can give one via Cash App at $REHABCC. give. That's $REHABCC give via Cash App. If you just go to Cash App and you can give there at $REHABCC give. You can give online at our website at www.rehabcc.org. That's www.rehabcc.org. Or you can give right from your cell phone. If you just simply grab your cell phone and text the word Rehab Works, one word, two words put together as one, Rehab Works to the number 88202, and just follow the prompts. You can give right from your cell phone as well. Again, 3 ways you can give via Cash App at $REHABCC give. That's $REHABCC give. Or you can give on our website at www.rehabcc.org. That's www.rehabcc.org. Or you can get through your cell phone or via cell phone by texting the word Rehab Works to 88202. That's texting the word Rehab Works to 88202. You can give either one of those 3 ways. And I'm here to tell you that God is going to bless you in a tremendous way. And so again, I want to challenge you to give. It is because of your giving that God has blessed us and empowered us to be able to do the things that we've done in such a short period of time with not a lot of people, not a lot of resources, but we have been faithful over the things that He's given us. And I want to challenge you to give tonight. I want to challenge you to give. If this message blessed you, the best thing that you can do is place a seed in the ground and sow into the message that God has given you. And I'm here to assure you that you are giving into fertile ground. You are giving into ground that is proven to be a blessing to people, and not just any kind of people, but people who seriously need to be blessed by the church. I'm grateful for you, Rehab, because we are living the purpose of the church every single day. Not just a bunch of shouting, not just a bunch of screaming and yelling, not just a bunch of all of that stuff, but we're also doing the work of the church. We are doing the work of the church. And Rehab, I want you to know I'm incredibly proud of you. And it is my prayer that by August, we will be back in our building and we will be able to celebrate 7 years of existence in August. And I'm just grateful for everything that you've done and everything that you continue to do, and certainly to our supporters that do the same. Listen, I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm done. I hope this message has blessed you. Do me a favor. Make sure you share this stream with all of your friends, with all of your family members, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, whoever. I want you to share this stream with them and tell them they've got to check out this message on the Scavenger. And we are going to continue part 2 next Tuesday. And this series will run every Tuesday through the month of June and every Tuesday in the month of July. We're going to run this 7 types of data series for these 2 consecutive months. And I'm here to tell you, Tuesday nights will never be the same. It is my prayer that this message has blessed you. It's challenged you. It's caused you to think. It's caused you to go beyond what you have perceived to be effective dating. And it's caused you, above everything else, to take a second look at where you are and where God would desire you to be. Listen, I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. Have a fantastic week. And we will see you bright and early on Sunday morning. Again, don't forget to share this word with somebody. Don't forget to tell them to tune in. And we will see you Sunday morning, 9:08 sharp, for another powerful word from God. All right. I love you. I'm praying for you. Peace and blessings.
Thank you for watching the Rehab Christian Center Live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Zeb Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by Cash App at $Pastor ZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encourage, enlighten, and empower you to be better. Please tune in Sunday at 9:08 a.m. for our Sunday morning experience. And as always, be blessed and have a wonderful week.